The blood surged to my fingertips, causing them to tingle as I held the key card to my hotel, watching my sister block the doorway. My father's loud laughter echoed from inside the Grand Azure's lobby, the very lobby I had designed, the hotel I owned, while I stood outside, feeling like an unwelcome stranger. "You really think you're coming in?" Vanessa said, her voice dripping with condescension. She adjusted her designer dress, a knockoff I recognized immediately from the sketches my designer friend had shown me last week, and planted herself firmly in the doorway. "This is the Grand Azure, Ellie. The tasting menu alone costs more than you make in a month." If only she knew I had created that menu myself with our Michelin-starred chef. "He's my father too," I replied, my voice steadier than I expected. The small envelope in my clutch, containing the deed to a vacation villa in Tuscany, one of the Grand Azure's most exclusive properties, suddenly felt heavier. "My name is Eleanor, I'm 38, and I'm a hospitality entrepreneur," I thought to myself as the weight of the moment settled in. This was the story of how I would reclaim my rightful place at a table I had personally built. "Mom and Dad were very specific," Vanessa continued, checking her reflection in the glass doors. "They only want successful people here. People who won't embarrass the family." The irony hit me hard. Just yesterday, I had signed off on a $100 million expansion of the Grand Azure chain. But today, I was apparently too embarrassing to even enter my own hotel. I resisted the urge to laugh at how absurd the situation was. 10 years ago, when I left the family's small accounting firm to pursue a career in hospitality, they'd nearly disowned me. My father's words still echoed in my mind. "No daughter of mine is going to be a glorified waitress." But I had let them think what they wanted. I let them believe I was struggling in restaurant management. Meanwhile, I had built Azure Hospitality Group into one of the most successful luxury hotel chains in the world. The so-called glorified waitress now owned 35-star hotels across 3 continents. "Eleanor." My mother's sharp voice cut through my thoughts as she appeared behind Vanessa. "What are you doing here? We discussed this." No, they had discussed it. I had received a text from my mother that morning. "Don't come to Dad's birthday. It's at the Grand Azure. You can't afford it. Don't embarrass us." "I brought a gift," I said quietly, holding up the small envelope. "Oh, what is it?" "A gift card to Olive Garden." Vanessa laughed. "Or did you scrape together enough tips to buy him something from the mall?" My mother's eyes narrowed at my simple clutch. A handmade Italian leather piece that costs more than Vanessa's car. "Whatever it is, I'm sure your sister's gift is more appropriate," she said. "She just made junior partner at her firm, you know." I knew. Just like I knew her firm was currently in talks to lease office space in one of my buildings, the lease they couldn't quite afford. My real estate division had sent me the reports just yesterday. "Vanessa's doing so well," my mother continued, warming to her favorite subject. "New house in the suburbs, luxury car, wonderful fiancé with such good prospects." She paused, giving me a critical once-over. "And you, well, at least you're trying, I suppose." I thought about my penthouse overlooking Central Park, my collection of rare sports cars, and the private jet I had flown in on that morning. "Yes, Mom. At least I'm trying." Speaking of trying, Vanessa smirked. "That dress. Couldn't you have made an effort? This is the Grand Azure, not some diner." I ran my hand over the sophisticated black silk, custom-made by one of Paris's most exclusive designers, the same designer who had refused to make anything for Vanessa last month. A detail my stylist had casually mentioned during my last fitting. "It's what I could manage," I said mildly. "Well, you can't come in," Vanessa declared. "We've reserved the entire VIP floor. It's for family and distinguished guests only." The VIP floor. My VIP floor. The one I had personally redesigned last year, selecting every piece of artwork in crystal chandelier. The distinguished guests being? I asked, genuinely curious about who they'd invited. "Oh, you wouldn't know them," my mother waved dismissively. "The Andersons. They own that successful law firm. The Blackwoods. Old money, you know. And Mr. Harrison from the bank." I suppressed a smile. Thomas Anderson leased 3 of my properties. The Blackwoods had recently begged for a membership at my most exclusive resort. And Mr. Harrison? His bank was currently seeking a major loan from my investment group. Right, I said, very important people. Exactly, Vanessa replied, clearly pleased that I understood my place. So you see why you can't be here, she continued. What would people think if they knew Dad's failure of a daughter was serving their drinks? Vanessa, our mother chided softly, though I could see her eyes showed approval. Be nice. Eleanor made her choices. If she'd stayed with the family firm like you did, things would be different. The family firm that now occupied a modest office in one of my buildings, barely scraping by, always struggling to make rent. My property manager sent me monthly reports on all tenants, including my family's struggling business. Just then my brother-in-law Gavin appeared, straightening his tie. What's taking so long? Everyone's waiting for. He spotted me and froze, his face falling. Eleanor didn't expect to see you here. Clearly not, I replied. Gavin's just been promoted to vice president at his bank, my mother proudly announced. Junior vice president, I corrected, knowing his exact position, as his bank managed some of my smaller accounts. My financial team always provided me with detailed reports on all our banking partners. Well, that's certainly more impressive than whatever you're doing, Vanessa snapped. Assistant manager at some chain restaurant, I suppose? I thought back to the board meeting I had left early this morning, where we had discussed acquiring the very bank where Gavin worked. The paperwork was probably still on my desk upstairs in my private office. Something like that. I said calmly. This is ridiculous, my mother declared. Eleanor, just go. You're making a scene. I'll tell your father you couldn't make it. Couldn't afford it, you mean? Vanessa added with a mocking laugh. I looked past them toward the grand entrance of the hotel I had built from the ground up. The marble floors I had personally selected, the crystal chandeliers I had commissioned, the artwork I had curated. Every inch of it was mine. For a brief moment, I considered walking away, letting them continue their little fantasy. But then I remembered something my first mentor had said to me. Success means nothing if you can't stand up for yourself. My jaw tightened, and I straightened my back, feeling the weight of everything I had built on my own, without their support or approval. A calm clarity washed over me, and my fingers stopped tingling. Actually, I said quietly, I think I'll stay. Before my mother could respond, the heavy glass doors swung open, and Owen, my head of security, stepped through. He had been with me since I purchased my first struggling hotel 7 years ago, helping transform it into the flagship of the Azure chain. Is everything all right here, Madam CEO? Owen's voice echoed across the entrance. Your usual table is ready, and Chef Michelle is holding the menu tasting for your approval. The silence that followed was deafening. Vanessa's mouth fell open, her lipstick now looking garish against her suddenly pale face. My mother gripped the brass door handle for support. Owen, I smiled warmly. Perfect timing. My family was just explaining how I couldn't afford to dine here. Ma'am, Owen said, looking genuinely confused. But you own the entire hotel chain. Yes, I answered. I do. Turning to my stunned family, I added. Shall we go inside? I believe you've reserved the VIP floor. My VIP floor, to be precise. Gavin finally found his voice. This is some kind of joke. You're just a restaurant manager. Actually, Owen interjected smoothly. Miss Eleanor is the founder and CEO of Azure Hospitality Group. She owns all 35 Grand Azure hotels worldwide, as well as our resort properties and restaurant chains. Vanessa's designer clutch slipped from her fingers and clattered on the marble steps. But, she stammered. That's impossible. The Grand Azure is worth billions. I finished the sentence for her, I said, which makes your comment about me not being able to afford the tasting menu rather amusing. I stepped past them into the hotel's lobby, where the staff immediately straightened in attention. Good evening, Miss Eleanor, my front desk manager called out. The executive suite is prepared for your father's birthday celebration. Thank you, Rachel, I replied, turning back to my family, who were still frozen in the doorway. I led them in silence, watching as they looked around the hotel, as if seeing it for the first time. Every staff member we passed greeted me by name, each one showing the genuine respect I had earned through years of hands-on leadership. But your dress, My mother finally managed, eyeing my simple black dress with new eyes. Custom made in Paris, I said nonchalantly. Around $30,000, I believe. I tend to forget to check price tags these days. I led them to the private elevator, the one that required a special key. I pulled the key from my clutch, adding, unlike Vanessa's dress, which I believe is a knockoff, the real Valentino collection hasn't even been released yet. I know because I attended the private showing last month. The elevator doors opened directly into the VIP lounge, where my father's birthday celebration was in full swing. As soon as we entered, the room fell silent. Eleanor walked confidently into the grand ballroom, her heart steady as she made her way toward the head table. Her father looked up in utter surprise, his face pale with disbelief. What are you doing here? Your mother said you couldn't afford it. She stood tall in front of him, offering a cool smile. Happy birthday. Hope you don't mind that I'm attending the party in my own hotel. Your hotel. Mr. Harrison from the bank stepped forward, his face suddenly lighting up with recognition. Miss Eleanor, I had no idea you were connected to Robert Thompson. We've been trying to arrange a meeting with you for months regarding the loan. Eleanor owns the Grand Azure, Thomas Anderson added, his voice filled with shock. My God, Robert, your daughter is the mysterious CEO who's been buying up prime real estate all over the city. Her father slumped back in his chair, drained of color. All this time, we thought you were just a waitress with a little flair. Eleanor raised an eyebrow. Your words, not mine, from the day I left the family business to pursue a career in hospitality. Her mother, still clutching her pearls, asked, but why didn't you tell us? Would you have believed me? Eleanor asked softly. You didn't believe in me when I needed you most. Why would I share my success with people who only judge worth by the size of a bank account? She paused, looking at the room. Though by that standard, I suppose I'm worth more than anyone here. Vanessa, her mother's closest ally, sank into a chair, her face drained of color. The villa in the south of France last summer. The one you said was unavailable. Eleanor nodded. It's mine. She glanced at Gavin. Just like the office building your firm is struggling to lease. She then turned to her mother. The resort membership you've been on a waiting list for? Mine too. Her father, his voice shaky, began. We. Eleanor raised her hand to silence him. I didn't reveal this to hurt you. You've hurt me enough over the years. I did this because I'm tired of hiding my success to protect your pride. She turned to the room. Please enjoy the party. It's all on the house. My house. As she started to walk away, she paused and addressed her father. Oh, and that envelope Vanessa wouldn't let me give you? It's the deed to a villa in Tuscany. Consider it a birthday gift from your daughter, the failure you never believed in. The next hour unfolded in a strange, almost surreal fashion. People who had barely acknowledged her at past family events were now clamoring for business opportunities. The Blackwoods desperately pleaded for access to the resort membership. Mr. Harrison cornered her about the bank's loan application. Through it all, her family sat in stunned silence. Vanessa's fiancé disappeared after learning her future career at her firm was dependent on a lease she couldn't afford in Eleanor's building. Gavin, flustered, kept making calls, likely to update his resume. Her mother vacillated between tears and explaining to guests that she had always known her daughter had potential. As the night drew to a close, Eleanor found her father alone on the terrace, gazing out at the lights of the city. How many of those buildings do you own? He asked, pointing to the skyline. Enough, she replied, joining him at the edge. Including the family firm's building. Her father slowly nodded. I was wrong about you, Eleanor. So terribly wrong. Yeah, she agreed, her voice steady. You were. Can you ever forgive us? He asked, his voice tentative. Eleanor considered his question. The years of dismissive comments, the way they had undermined her at every turn. Forgiveness isn't the issue, she said. Respect is. You never respected my choices. You never believed in me. You only respect success when it's proven. She looked at him, a slight smile curling her lips. And now you can tell everyone that your daughter owns the Grand Azure. That should make for a great dinner party conversation. She turned and walked away, heading toward her private office at the top of the building. Tomorrow, everything would be different. Vanessa would no longer be the golden child. Her mother would likely rewrite history, trying to claim she had always supported Eleanor's dreams. Gavin and his bank would be facing acquisition. But tonight, for the first time, Eleanor had taken her rightful seat at the table. A table she had built herself in a room she owned, beneath a roof she paid for. And that, she knew, was worth more than any amount of late family approval.